On this week's episode of the Rambler Sports Locker, the softball team gets in a hot streak and Tim Edmonds and his Ramble analysts debate Virginia's controversial run to the NCAA title.
Also, men's volleyball wraps up regular season play, and RSL reporter Ioana Kakados has one final sit-down with men's basketball's Clayton Custer before he says goodbye.
Welcome back to this week's episode of the Rambler Sports Locker. I'm Amelia Ickes.
And I'm Eric Moran. On Friday, April 5th, the Loyola men's volleyball team hosted the Lindenwood University Lions at Gentile Arena for MIVA play. The Ramblers won the first set but fell to the Lions in the second set. The Ramblers bounced back to come out on top in the third and fourth set, winning the match 3-1. Seniors Colin Mahan and Will Tischler both led the teams in kills, with each of them recording 16 apiece. The next day, on April 6th, the Ramblers hosted the Quincy University Hawks for their last regular season game of the year. The Ramblers continued their winning ways, winning the match 3-0. Senior Colin Mahan had 10 kills and 8 aces in the winning effort. After an impressive defensive showing last week, senior Avery Aylesworth earned the final regular season MIVA Defensive Player of the Week award. The Ramblers will next host the Ohio State Buckeyes in MIVA tournament play on April 13th.
On April 6th and 7th, the Loyola softball team hosted the Indiana State University Sycamores for a 3-game series at Loyola Softball Park. The Ramblers won the first game against the Sycamores by a close score of 2-1. Junior outfielder Jessica Shields had a good outing for the ball club, going 2-4 in the batter's box. One of those hits was a game-winning walk-off single. Later in the afternoon, the two teams met again, but this time it was a high-scoring affair. Propelled by a 12-run third inning, the Ramblers were able to outscore the Sycamores by a total of 13-7. Junior Shannon McGee played a significant role for the offense, recording 3 hits and 2 RBIs. The next day, the Ramblers would go on to sweep the series against Indiana State in another offensive duel, resulting in a score of 14-8. As a team, the Ramblers hit 3 homers, and freshman pitcher Sydney Ruggles would pick up her first career win in the contest. On Tuesday, April 9th, the Ramblers traveled to Valparaiso to take on the Valparaiso Cruisers in a doubleheader. The Ramblers took Game 1 of the series, hitting the Crusaders and winning 4-2. Senior starting pitcher Kylie Jones announced just 2 runs, while sophomore Allison Ivy had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. The Ramblers and Crusaders then geared up for round 2 of the doubleheader. The Ramblers exploded for 8 runs in the 3rd and 4th innings. Those runs proved to be the difference as the Ramblers won 9-1. On April 8th, freshman shortstop Madison Eving was honored the MVC Newcomer of the Week after she hit 8 for 16 the week prior. The Ramblers are now 22-14 on the season and will next take on the Drake University in a 3-game series starting April 13th.
Although the men's basketball team didn't make it into the NCAA tournament this season, one Loyola player still brought home some hardware for the Ramblers. On April 4th, redshirt senior guard Clayton Custer traveled to Minneapolis to participate in the State Farm men's 3-point competition. He scored 17 baskets in the first round, making him one of the top scorers out of the 8 players present from around the country. Custer advanced to the semifinals, where he sunk 19 before defeating University of Central Florida guard B.J. Taylor in the finals with the score of 18-14. In the co-ed championship, Custer eventually fell to Central Michigan University guard Presley Hudson 25-15.
Custer's performance in the 3-point shootout was just the cherry on top of a storied career.
RSL reporter Ioana Kakados caught up with the men's basketball senior star one last time before he leaves Loyola behind.
I sat down with redshirt senior Clayton Custer to discuss his past 4 years here at Loyola. Clayton discussed this past season and how he felt it went well.
I mean, obviously we had high expectations for how the year was going to go. We weren't entitled this year. I think a lot of people thought like maybe we wouldn't work as hard because we made it to the Final Four last year and all that. But we have such good character guys on our team, and we really did work super hard in the off season. Obviously we didn't make it back to the NCAA tournament, which was the kind of the end goal for us. But I mean, you can't do it every year, and that's sports.
Clayton looks back at his memories here at Loyola and what he will miss the most.
I'm sad that I have to go. The bond that I'll have with my teammates is something that I'll be able to take on with me for the rest of my life. I just like hanging out with the guys. That's the part that I like the most, is being part of something bigger than yourself and hanging out off the court, just sitting around we watched the national championship game the other night, and we were all in there together just talking and having a good time. When you're on a college basketball team, you're all young guys, and you're going through life. You're kind of figuring things out together. That's probably what I'll miss the most, is just being able to go through and experience things with your teammates.
Clayton discloses his plans for the future.
If I'm being honest, I honestly am still kind of trying to figure it out. I think I might play overseas. I'm still deciding if I want to do that. I could go the coaching route, or I could just go the start real life route. Obviously, wish I could keep playing college basketball for the rest of my life, but that's not how it works. So I got to move on. But I'll always come back. I'll always cheer for Loyola, and they always have a special place in my heart.
We're excited to see where Clayton is headed next. For RSL, I'm Ioana Kakatos. Back to you at the desk.
The Loyola track and field team had a successful meet at the Redbird Invitational in Normal, Illinois on Saturday, April 6th. Freshmen Sarah Aloho and Jana Rokita took first and second place respectively in the women's triple jump, while junior Eric Burns won the men's long jump with a distance of 7.6 meters. Meanwhile, sophomore Emmanuel Champagne took first in the 3,000-meter race, recording a time of 9 minutes 26 seconds. Freshman Adam Clayton ran away with the victory in the 100-meter dash, while also moving to 7th all-time in the event. In total, the Ramblers racked up 8 collected individual titles, which coach Bob Thornhofer says will provide the team with more momentum as they continue their outdoor season. Loyola will next travel to Iowa City on April 13th for the Musco Twilight Meet.
On April 8th, the Loyola men's golf team traveled to Nashville, Tennessee to participate in the Roman Hospitality Intercollegiate. In the opening round of the tournament, the Ramblers posted a score of 299, which put the team in 12th place. Sophomore Devin Johnson led the team with 13 pars and placed 13th in the competition individually. The next day, on April 9th, the Ramblers fell from 12th place to 14th place, finishing with a 2-day total of 613. Junior Justin LaFrance led the Ramblers on day 2, scoring a 4 over par 75. The Ramblers will next participate in the Missouri Valley Conference Championship April 22nd and 23rd in Sunrise Beach, Missouri.
The Loyola women's golf team completed their regular season at the Indiana State Spring Invitational on April 8th in Terre Haute, Indiana. The Ramblers closed play with a 605 tally, giving them the top score over the other 4 MVC teams at the Invitational. They took 3rd place behind Cal Baptist and Youngstown State. Senior Elena Bowser matched her 18-hole career low at the event to tie for 8th place, scoring 148. Freshman Lorenza Martinez scored 13th after scoring a 151. Meanwhile, freshman Jenny Mislinski equaled her season low with a 154. She tied for 24th with junior Morgan Brown. The team is now preparing for the Missouri Valley Conference Women's Golf Championship, which will happen next week on April 14th through 16th in Chesterton, Indiana.
The men's basketball season ended this past Monday with Virginia winning it all against Texas Tech. But their run did not come without controversy.
Tim Edmonds and his Ramble analysts put some questionable calls in Virginia's semifinal game against Auburn under the microscope in this week's Ramble.
Welcome to this week's Ramble. I'm Tim Edmonds here with Ramble analysts Haley Spittler and Pablo Rosero. The Virginia Cavaliers defeated the Texas Tech Red Raiders to win the national championship in an overtime thriller. But some believe they got an assist from the referees late in their Final Four game against Auburn. In this week's Ramble, we will discuss the foul call on Auburn's Samir Dowdy with less than a second left and whether Virginia's Kyle Guy deserved to shoot those 3 free throws to seal the Cavs' 1-point victory. Haley, we'll start with you. Why was it a bad call?
Because it wasn't a foul. I don't know how he got to shoot 3 throws because he did not deserve to. I mean, Samir Dowdy definitely made contact with Kyle Guy's right leg, but it was after the basketball had already left his hand, so I don't know how him hitting his leg when it's already gone and in the air affects whether or not it makes the net. Like, there was no foul there.
Okay.
So I get that the refs have been kind of a constant issue in like all sports now, and CBS, I guess, addressed this. They have a rules expert, Gene Steratore, who's actually been a ref for college basketball games before, and he says that it's a clear foul, that it's an A to B foul where the defender leaves where he's standing and makes contact with Guy, And he doesn't let him land in the same spot that he shot, and he kind of just messed with his vertical jump, so it altered the shot, and that's a foul.
Yeah, I just don't think how you land affects when the ball has already left your hands. But also I think my issue is that this game was decided by the refs and not by the players and what they did on the court. If you're going to make this call, like, it shouldn't have even been a possibility to make this call because Virginia shouldn't have had the ball. It should have been Auburn's, and Virginia should have lost possession when Ty Jerome had that double dribble. So they didn't make that call, but they're going to make this one. That's completely inconsistent.
I understand what you're saying, and yeah, they missed that call, but during the broadcast, you have a guy like Charles Barkley, who played in the NBA, who saw that live, was basically on the court, and didn't even recognize that it was a call. So sometimes it happens, and
Okay, but I mean, like, Charles Barkley also went to Auburn, so I'm sure he was, not focused. He was invested.
But even some of the analysts on there also kind of said, like, oh, like, they didn't realize it at first either until they saw the replay.
Let me preface a question for both of you. Like, how would you have preferred watching this as fans? How do you guys want it to end? You guys want it to end with a foul call, or you guys want it to end with a three-pointer?
I want to end with a three-pointer. I want it to end where it's because a player did the right thing. I don't want it to end because a referee stepped in and made a controversial, maybe it's there, maybe it's not. Because all this is reminding me of is the Saints. When they didn't make the Super Bowl because they missed the pass interference call, and that tainted it. Like, it was no longer, let's go Rams, beat the New England Patriots. It was, the Rams shouldn't even be here, and like, that's how it was for the championship game. It was, should Virginia even be here? I think it should be Auburn.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's bad reffing. That was a bad call. But if you're putting yourself in that position where you can still lose based on a bad call, then that affects you, and if you can find steps to avoid that, then you can. Auburn missed a free throw late in the game. That would have put them up 3, and that would have tied the game and most likely sent them to overtime. So since that's an issue...
Or if the double dribble had been caught, Virginia wouldn't have had possession and they would have just won the game.
But, I mean, you have the free throws there for you. If you make that last free throw, and they put Jared Harper, a guy who before that made 12 straight free throws, and he missed the biggest one. And so you go and you put the game in the ref's hands. They miss one call. You come down. All you have to do is play good defense. Samir Dowdy jumped and hit Kyle Guy. The foul's called. He makes all 3 free throws, and the rest is history.
I'll just say this to end it.
Can close it? Yeah, close here.
I think the NCAA was honestly just trying to make it up to Kyle Guy. They stopped him from getting gifts in his wedding registry, so this was their final gift to him, a free pass into the national championship game.
You know, you both presented a really clean argument. It's really tough here. I'm gonna have to go with Pablo, though. I think he was fouled, and he showed me enough evidence to make me think that. You'll be on next week's Ramble. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let us know which side you're on by voting in our Twitter poll. That's it for this week's Ramble. I'm your host, Tim Edmonds. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Tim. Although I do think that foul call shouldn't have been made.
Honestly, I think it was a pretty tough call, but I think at the end of the day, the referees did get it right. For our full episodes and the chance to get in on the conversation, follow and like our social media handles for an up-to-date look at all things Rambler Sports.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Amelia Ickes.
And I'm Eric Moran. Check back next week for another episode of the Rambler Sports Locker.
And as always, don't forget to turn out the lights.